Hello, everyone. It's been a little time since I've done my last video, and I do apologize for that. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life, some good, some bad. We won't go into everything. I am a new relationship. That's taken a little bit of my time, getting to know her and things like that. But one thing that just came up this morning that I hadn't thought about a lot was my time at Sam's Club and how much I did there. And there was something that was brought up that I hadn't even thought about in years. And that's what kind of prompted me to say, you know what, I need to talk about this before I forget it again. So, so in June of '96, I was between jobs. I did get hired in at the Children's Zoo in Saginaw, doing maintenance. I was there most of the time anyway because my fiance at the time worked there as concessions manager, so I would just show up because I had nothing else to do. I wasn't working, and they had an incident with their maintenance man that let him. They had to let him go for what was going on. I won't go into details on that. It's not fair. But so that summer, I did a lot of stuff at the zoo. It was fun. I got to carry out animals. I got to help out with stuff. I got to be friends with a skunk. I miss Flower. She was my favorite animal at that zoo, and she would climb all over me. Yeah, she was basically a curious kitty cat, is what I kind of equate her to because that's kind of how she was. But I drove the train. I put the train back on the tracks. I fixed the tracks. I actually can actually say I was working on the railroad. Well, not long after they hired me there, I finally got a call back from Sam's Club. They were looking for people that, at that time, technology was just going through the roof. The Pentiums processors were just starting to hit the market, and they wanted someone there that knew how to talk about technology, that understood technology, that could sell technology. So I started out a little higher than what the normal hire, what people would hire in at. And I worked that department for several years. I still remember the most expensive monitor that we sold, and this is just the monitor, was $800, and it was a 17-inch CRT. We're not even talking flat screens at this point. Yeah. So, yeah, that's okay. I don't want to say how old I am, but that's how old I am. And I understood all that technology, and I picked up the rest. I picked up, radio stuff. I picked up TV stuff, but computers was what I really knew. So I did that for the first couple of years I was there, and I had ambitions to move up and become a manager. So, I um, I interviewed for the grocery lead one time. Didn't get that, but they were very impressed with how the interview went. And when Hardlines came up, I interviewed for that and got that position. So I became the head of Hardlines, which included electronics. So I still had, my fingers in electronics, and but I had the whole rest of the department. Housewares, linens, um, your detergents, your. I'm going back through the whole department. The pet food, the um, kitchenware stuff. All of that stuff was mine to deal with. Garbage bags too, paper products, mattresses. That was all my area, and I think I did all right with it. Was I the best? No. Would I be better now? Absolutely. I I understand the business aspect of things much better now than I did then. I thought I was ready. I wasn't. Yes, I know, sweetie. Yeah. Yeah, you're catching flies. That's the thing. My house is fly free because my cats catch and eat the flies. But anyway, getting back to Sam's Club. So I did hard lines for a while, and then they transferred me over to the center department, which was apparel, office supplies, beer, wine, pop, and then seasonal. Seasonal was a beast because you had to basically reset that almost daily. If not daily, within like 3 or 4 days. You always had to keep moving things around because you kept selling out of stuff. You got more stuff in. There was a lot of that. And I learned a lot about merchandising from having had that section. I can merchandise the heck out of anything now just because of my experience there. Our regional manager would come in and do walks with us, and there were times where he would come up with ideas that we kind of questioned. Is this the right thing for the business? I learned over the years, working with him, I have the utmost respect for this man to this day, that I would normally agree with him on things, but I would also pick my battles with him. And that's one thing that one of my coworkers, one of the fellow leads that we had, could not get through her head, is not to argue every point with him. Pick your battles. Good advice in life. If you know you're right, that's one thing. But if you don't know, maybe listen to the advice. Maybe say, you might be right. Let's try that. And that's what I normally did with him. There was one day that I remember in particular. We were doing a walk, and I had just observed this interaction between the two of them throughout the whole walk through her section. And we're going through my section, and I had center, like I said, and it's near Christmas time. We have tons of Christmas product, and we're trying to think about how to transition into spring because Christmas is about to happen, and we've got all kinds of spring product coming in. And we're walking through one of the aisles of seasonal, and we had a bay that had 2 pallets of charcoal in December in Michigan. And he's like, we probably don't need this. We could probably just rack both of these, and you'll have a whole full bay to move stuff into. I looked at him, and I said, check sales. He scanned it. He looked at it. Okay, they can stay. That's knowing your business. That's taking pride in your business. That's, making sure that you're on top of things. When you can tell somebody that's walking in saying, we need to take this off the floor, but then they look at the sales on those products and know that, hey, this is driving business. That's acclamation to what you're doing. But no, I went through some growing pains with being a floor lead. As I said, I wasn't ready for it at the time that I did it, and I apologize to those people that I worked with that I went through those growing pains with. So I stepped down and I went to the membership desk, and that was another different beast altogether as well. Dealing with our members day in and day out, getting them tax exempt, signing people up for memberships, fixing their problems. 9/11 happened while I was at the membership desk. I will never forget that day because I went and grabbed a TV off of the shelf and brought it back so we could have it behind the desk. and just keep track of the events of that day. Man, that was a very, very weird day. I mean, Y2K was one thing, but 9/11 took it to another level. All right. Anyway, so I was 6 months up on the desk, and then a position opened up in our accounting department, which we also refer to as the cash room because that's where all the cash came, and we took care of everything. We did checks, we did credit card slips, we did everything. Everything became more and more automated, where we didn't have to do as much over the years. Credit cards became automated, EBT became automated, debit became automated. You still had the cash aspect of things. That's gone now. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I was in that department for roughly about 2.5 years. Had a lot of fun in that department. At Sam's Club, there's not a lot of places that are extremely secure. Even the manager's offices are not secure. Accounting or a cash room was one of those few departments. And managers would come into our office to kind of blow off some steam, talk about things, kind of let go. And I heard a lot of things that I didn't need to hear, but because of that, I learned that there are times that you, as a manager, you do need to vent. You do need to get things off your chest. And as an hourly employee, yeah, I left it at that. I did not take anything I heard in that room out of that room. And I still do that to this day. If a manager or somebody higher than me, sorry, I'm itchy today, decides to say something to me that I probably shouldn't repeat, guess what? I'm not repeating it. That's going to stay with me. That's just the way I am. And yeah, it's nice getting to know different things about the business and about things that are going on. It's a different thing to share them. So, anyway, this is right before Elizabeth was born. So we're talking 2003. I was working accounting. I loved the department. I didn't want to leave it. But we had something happen at work where we had a worker let go because of something that was going on. I won't go into details on that. And it was in the electronics department. And I volunteered myself to go back to electronics. It was just, I was like, we just lost a strong person in that department. We need another strong person in that department. And with the incoming birth of my first child, I'm like, I want a little more flexibility to my schedule because I didn't have that in accounting. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was nice to have a structure. I won't lie about that, but I wanted to do what was best for business as well. So I went back to electronics, and that's where I stayed for 10 more years. I got a lot of opportunities in that department with learning things. When we moved across the street, I got to set up the new department, and I did some things there that are still talked about to this day about how I set it up. The fact that my regional manager got me a merit raise based upon what I did, that he walked my regional vice president through, or the yeah. Our regional manager walked my regional vice president through my department. The regional vice president walked the president through the department. And then a few months later, I got to walk the CEO of Walmart through my department. There was just that level of respect there that I knew my business and I could take care of it. It still carries true to this day. I still do the same stuff. But during that time, I also got to learn optical department. I got to learn photo department. I learned jewelry. Jewelry was the thing that brought all of this memory back up because I was just talking with somebody about that. I got to learn about clarity of rings, how to grade a gemstone. Have I had formal training on that? No, not officially. But can I do it? Yes. I can tell what to look for in a gemstone. But, over the years at Sam's Club, I'm not going to go into every department I worked in. I'm already bored you enough with that. But over that time, there are very few things I have not done there. I've never dispensed anything in pharmacy. That takes very special training. I can't do that. What else haven't I done there? I never officially cut meat. There we go. That's the second thing. But beyond that, I don't think there's anything I never did at Sam's Club. Because I worked in bakery, decorated cakes, baked things, helped with produce several times, did tires, batteries, in the cafe, did stuff in there. Obviously, management things, accounting things, everything on the floor. I stocked cooler, I stocked freezer. Yeah, there's not a lot I didn't do there. Yeah, people ask me, what's your specialty in life, and I really don't have one. I mean, all the things I've done in my life, all the jobs I've had, there's not a lot that I haven't touched. I mean, okay, I haven't done surgery on anybody. I haven't done anything like that, but I did work in healthcare for 6 months when I worked security at Covenant. So technically, I have done healthcare. And yes, that includes getting women up to the labor floor. And there were a couple of times I didn't think I was going to get them up there. I thought I was going to be delivering in the elevator. But, it's... Man, I could write a book about all my experiences through the years with all the jobs I've had. And it would probably be a 500-page book, if not longer. But anyway, I will cut it off there because my last few videos have gone very, very much longer than this. And I have a feeling I've already talked about a few of the things I've talked about today. But just that mention of jewelry, that's something I haven't talked about before. And it just brought back a lot of memories about all the jobs that I did at Sam's. And the fact that I have a lot of job experience through all the jobs that I've had. So until next time, please subscribe, hit the like button, all that stuff. You know the drill. Until next time.